I have no idea how I want to start these anymore. Light. That's it. Welcome everybody to the 8th episode of the Burnout series. The fact that I managed to make it this far is insane. And this is going to be our first ever Thursday edition of Burnout because of a work schedule change. So now I have to record these on Tuesdays now because Mondays I have busy work. So this week it's all about the Circuit of the Americas and the great weekend we had there. So let's get right into it. First things first, of course, Tyler Reddick, the first Toyota this season to win a points race, and he goes on to score his 4th career victory and his 3rd road course victory of his Cup career. Which, if you ask me, to answer that question of do I think he deserved that win, he absolutely did. He was a consistent threat throughout the events, especially with how well he was doing at the end of the race and how he said he wasn't doing that good on the restarts. He still managed to stay up front and hold off the fort long enough to score that victory. This weekend, we also got to see something else brand new happen. This was our very first NASCAR race this weekend, ever since the start of stage racing, that we didn't have any stage cautions. NASCAR did this to keep the pace going at the road courses because the road courses are really long and we got to see a bunch of cautions there anyways. So NASCAR decided just to not throw out cautions at stage ends and keep running the race, which, if you ask me, is a fantastic thing. Because that's one of the main reasons why I'm not a fan of stage racing. It just slows the pace down significantly. And just, once again, all in the name of artificial entertainment. And it gives any advantage that a driver has and just takes it away from them. So they have to just reset the whole field. So, like, what's even the point of the other 2 stages if it doesn't matter? Like, what's the other point of the 2 stages if all of that gain that the leader's going to have is just going to go away in the 3rd stage? All because of artificial entertainment, if you ask me. I don't mind stages, I just don't like the stage cautions. So hopefully NASCAR decides to port that to the oval races and we have no stage cautions. And NASCAR is really trying to talk about making the races shorter to cut down on time. My answer is to cut out stage cautions, so that way we can probably save maybe 20-30 minutes worth of cautions. NASCAR, if you're listening, get rid of stage cautions everywhere. Road courses, ovals, super speedways. I think NASCAR will benefit significantly from this decision. But yeah, other than that, the COTA race was so close to being a fantastic race. It could have been a 10 out of 10 race, but turned out to be an 8 out of 10. The reason was because Byron and Reddick were really becoming a great battle for the victory there. They were just battling each other throughout the end of the race, and honestly, if you ask me, if they just let them cook, they probably would have put on a great finish. I feel like Reddick probably would have won that race regardless, but having that battle with Byron probably would have made this race a fantastic 10 out of 10 race, and probably could have made this race worth talking about for years and years. Similar to like the Watkins Glen 2012 race, we could have seen a great battle for the finish there with 2 fantastic talents that are just starting to break out in their careers. But of course, we can't have nice things anymore, and everything has to be done in the name of artificial entertainment. So we got to see a debree caution with 4 to go. We get forced into overtime, and it becomes an overtime-filled wreckfest. Like, don't get me wrong, the right guy still managed to win the race. I mean, Reddick, a driver that definitely deserved that victory, still got the victory. But it kind of felt less deserving. It just felt like he just got lucky at the end, because despite the fact how much I love turn 1 for how great the restarts are, those late restarts are just pure chaos, which, I mean, that's what NASCAR is. It's just a bunch of chaos, but at the same time, it's like, it gets kind of old after a while. This is like, what, 4 races this season that finish in an overtime finish, which, if you ask me, is just getting old at this point. Like, yeah, I do love a good overtime finish every once in a while, but when you have it every single weekend, which majority of the time are BS reasons, it gets old. Really old. So yeah, despite the fact that we had a great battle going and a great finish in the works, Of course, we can't have that. So, of course, we had to be forced into overtime with pure chaotic restarts to appeal to the fans with less than a 3-second attention span. Because that's what NASCAR is now, pandering to 3-second attention spans. Watch the race. There's more to racing than just cars on top of each other and cars crashing into the fence. And like I mentioned before, Byron was a consistent throughout the race. Alex Bowman, like Daytona, was a threat throughout the race as well. He was sort of in the shadows throughout the race. We saw him last year, same thing. He was up front and was a silent factor throughout the COTA race 2022, almost spoiling the party in the final lap. And this year, it almost looked like he could have done the same thing this year. And then lastly, of course, Kyle Busch was nearly a party crasher at the end of the race. Thanks to those late overtime restarts, he managed to get up to a position where he could have easily won the race. He managed to finish second. So I did say Kyle Busch is going to win 2 races this season. He already got one of those at Auto Club earlier this year. And if you ask me, that second win is going to be coming anytime soon. Like I said, I predict that his second victory is going to be coming at a crown jewel event. So something like the Coke 600 or something 500, like I said before. So, I mean, Charlotte is coming up soon, so give it some time. It might be the Coke 600 that we might be seeing that second win, but I don't know. And then lastly, to talk about this weekend was a little bit of an issue with Daniel Suarez, who wasn't really happy with Alex Bowman late in the event. So what happened at the end of the race was he cut in front of Ross Chastain into the pits and then rammed into the back of the 48 car several times, even after the official told him to stop. Yeah, I fully expect Suarez is going to be getting a penalty really soon, not only for the fact that he's doing some unnecessary roughness, but especially with him ramming into the rear of these cars, which, of course, now that we know these cars really aren't that good with rear-end collisions, and especially with Bowman, because it hasn't been too long since he got that concussion at Texas. So I feel like we're going to be seeing a penalty involving a Suarez this weekend as well for unnecessary roughness. Apparently he had issues with Ross as well, so Ross, come on. Even your teammates are starting to not like you, man. Calm down. I like you. You're full of chaos and just pure crackhead energy, but at the same time, you're gonna get beat up by the whole field if everyone hates you, so calm down. So yeah, that was all about the Cup race this weekend, and then of course, we had the Xfinity and truck race, which I managed to predict both of those winners correctly. That's 3 correct winners this year, guys. So yeah, AJ Allmendinger managed to win the Xfinity race, even though it was a little controversial with what he did with Sheldon Creed, getting into a little tangle with Sheldon Creed at the end of the race. I mean, I would have hated it too, but since I predicted Allmendinger was going to win the race, I'm happy nonetheless. And then lastly, of course, I didn't catch much of the truck race, but Zane Smith did win the race, who was a driver I predicted was going to win. And all I remembered was during his burnout, he lit his car on fire. That's epic. So yeah, not really much I remember much from those other 2 races. I focused more on the Cup race this weekend. So that's the weekend at the Circuit of the Americas. If you ask me, COTA was designed for Formula 1 and IndyCar, but NASCAR, I feel like, is their bread and butter. Even though road courses are kind of untraditional for NASCAR, it is fantastic racing. Whether it be Watkins Glen, Sonoma, Circuit of the Americas, or even the Rovals like the Indy Road Course or the Charlotte Roval, we get to see some great racing at these road courses. So hopefully NASCAR will expand more on road course racing in the future. Not too much, but if you ask me, I feel like road courses are a safe bet for this sport. So we only got one other thing to talk about this weekend outside of COTA. So before we get to that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I did get your liver this weekend. All right, let's move on to the last portion of news, which of course talks about North Wilkesboro. We got to see a tire test this weekend at North Wilkesboro, and a lot of the drivers are loving the track. I did say before that I was worried that the North Wilkesboro race was going to get delayed or postponed because of construction issues, but by the looks of it, it does look like construction there is going along really well. So yeah, I am looking forward to North Wilkesboro's triumphant return after a 25-year hiatus, or a little bit more of a 25-year hiatus. So glad to see that NASCAR is finally going back to its roots with this iconic racetrack. So yeah, like I said before, this was really the only noteworthy news that came out this week. Aside from Josh Williams' penalty, but I kind of mentioned it in the last episode. Yeah, that penalty was absolute garbage. Williams was penalized because of NASCAR's incompetence. What a great thing. That's why I didn't really watch the Xfinity race. That's why I boycotted the Xfinity race, was because I'm not going to watch an event where a driver got penalized because of something NASCAR did. That's stupid. All right, before I start rambling on about that horrible incompetence, let's go ahead and talk about my predictions for the coming weekend. We got a little bit of a split weekend. The trucks will be heading to Texas, while the Xfinity and Cup Series are going to be heading to Richmond. So, yep. So my predictions of this week is, for the truck events, I'm actually going to be going on a limb and saying that we're going to be seeing a first-time winner this weekend. I'm actually going to be going and predicting Carson Hocevar will finally win his first race this weekend. We got to see how well he did last year at Charlotte, and I believe Texas as well. He's really good at those 1.5 mile tracks. And if you ask me, he finally pulls through and scores his first ever victory. Yeah, he definitely deserved getting his first win last year at Charlotte for how dominant he was last year. But of course, we can't have nice things. Caution came out, he had to get desperate, and he wrecked himself out. So, but this time around, he finally scores his first win at Texas. And that's that. All right, so moving on to the Xfinity race. Finally, Junior Motorsports will win their first race this year, with Justin Allgaier scoring his first of hopefully 5 victories. He's down by 5 already. I mean, Austin Hill's already scored 3 wins. He's probably going to win the championship at this point, but maybe Allgaier will pull off an upset? All right, I don't know what I'm talking about. And then lastly, the Cup race. I'm going to go with a little bit of a safe bet. Go not really much bold and brash like this weekend at COTA. Like, what happened, Kimmy? You were up in 4th, Kimmy, come on. So, I'm going to be going a little bit safe this weekend. I'm going to be going with Kyle Larson as the winner. He has won at Richmond before, and I feel like he's going to score his first win of the season this weekend. So, yeah, after 5 retakes, I finally managed to finish this episode. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Tune in next Thursday for episode 9, all about Texas and Richmond. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. I'm just going to walk away.